Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Nature's Always Right. Today's an awesome episode. We're going to be harvesting watermelons, and I'll be teaching you my 3 tips on how to pick a watermelon when it's ripe, and I'll even give you 2 bonus tips for a total of 5 tips on deciding when is the right time to harvest your watermelons. Let's go do it. Let's check out this melon. Looking at the vine here, okay, it was attached right here. You're gonna go up to the first node where it branches out and look for the tendril. And here it is, it's completely dried out. This is our biggest tip to tell us that this thing is either ripe or gonna become ripe very soon. Typically from my experience, once this dries out, within about 7 days, it should be picked. Let's look at the other factors. It's also gonna have that nice yellow bottom, white to yellowish bottom. That's also a good sign, called the field spot. And wherever your watermelon's growing, you want to make sure that you have some straw or grass or something that's keeping the watermelon up off of the soil and wet ground. Otherwise it can cause it to rot. It's got the dried out tendril, it's got a nice field spot, and then the third and final way that most of us know how to pick a watermelon is by the sound. You know, everybody's kind of got their way that they do it, and definitely this is a thing that comes from experience, and picking melons is not easy for sure. I'll try to describe the sound the best that I can, and we'll also hit it here as well. I think this one sounds really nice. You don't want to hear a thud. If you hear a solid thud, that would mean that it's overripe, that you let it sit here too long. So it makes more of a thuddy sound, like ugh. This is having a nice resonant sound though, more like a drum. And then, so it's got that sound. So you don't want it to be a thud where it's not resonating. That's overripe. Underripe would be more of a higher pitched pinging resonance, but this has a lower tone to it. So I guess if I had to describe it, you're listening for like a mid-tone resonant sound. And depending on the size and shape of the watermelon, that's also going to change the sound, of course. Even by variety, some farmers, they grow the same variety every year, and it's got that specific sound that they know every time it's going to be perfect. So just keep in mind that experience is a huge thing with this, and I am definitely not an expert at it. I've gotten pretty good where I get it right most of the time. So now I'm just going to take this thing to the fridge and get it super cool, and next weekend we're going to do a gigantic barbecue with a bunch of friends and have a bunch of these watermelons, so it's going to be a really fun time. All right, just weighed it, and let's see here, it's at about almost 9.5 pounds. Okay, let's go check out another watermelon, the big boy. Okay, here's the big watermelon of the season, actually grown in my neighbor's yard. And it's kind of interesting, growing right down there in that little trough, and then it stretched out to here. And so, okay guys, let's check out our 3 factors that are most important to figuring out if this thing's ripe. So number 1, that tendril. It's the first thing. It should not ever be ripe before this tendril dries out. So we got a dried out tendril, number 1. If I spin this a little bit, there's the field spot. Okay, and then the third is the sound. Now this has a much longer shape and it's bigger, so it'll be slightly different than the other watermelon. We're listening for the resonant, almost drum-like sound. And this one almost has a little more thud in it. It doesn't vibrate as much throughout, which is a little concerning, but we'll find out once we cut into it. There's a really happy medium. It gets a little bit sweeter the closer it goes to overripe, right? So it sounds pretty good. I definitely want to get it out of here today. So I'm going to give you 2 more tips in addition to the 3 determining factors to help you figure out if it's ready to pick or not. Another big thing to remember is when you planted these. I planted these in, I can't remember right now. I planted them so that they'd be ready about in August. And they'll basically grow until it gets so hot that they just peter out and die, and until they've produced 1 or 2 fruits. Depending on the variety, they produce different amounts. And these jubilees, I've grown, this is the 2nd year I've grown them, and I grew these jubilees from seeds that I saved last year from my Jubilee watermelon. This is the only variety that I grew on the property, so I wasn't worried about cross-pollination of the seed. I'm excited to try out the ones that I grew from the seed that I saved from my original heirloom watermelon. So I planted them, I think, in May, and then, you know, they grow for the summer season. The plant, you'll notice that the plant will start to die out. That is another kind of factor. The leaves will get yellow, brown, may even die. So the time of the year, so we're in the second week of August, so I know that almost all my watermelons are going to be ready around this time because of the time that I planted them. The next thing would be the summer heat. And if you're experiencing a hotter week or a hot spell, that's going to cause your melons to ripen much, much faster than if you had a cooler summer or a couple weeks of cool weather. Say in August right now, we've had consistent 90-degree temperatures. Today it's going to be 95. That has really sped up the process of the ripening. And when you see that really warm temperatures are coming and you know the watermelon's close, the tendril will actually start to yellow, and you can watch it start dying. And then at that time, that's when you want to check the watermelon, you know, every day or every other day to check on its progress. Listen to the sound of it. When the tendril's still green and you tap it, you're going to hear more of a higher pitched sound when you hit it. And as it ripens, the tone of the sound is going to become lower and lower. And it goes lower until that thud. And the thud is it's too ripe and it's going to be real mushy. It'll be sweet, but the texture will be very mushy. You know, you can make a smoothie out of it or something, but that's about it. So yeah, always keep in mind the heat. So today's going to be 95. And yesterday I checked this and I felt like it could go another day. But now that I know it's going to be 95 today, and I'm hearing a very deep resonance close to a thud sound, I want to get this out of here and in the fridge to lock in the ripeness. All right, so that's 5 tips total on thinking about and looking at the watermelon to try to determine if it's time to harvest it. So when you're clipping it, just snip it next to the fruit. That's it. Oh my gosh. All right, let's go get this thing weighed. I'm just gonna transport it in this. All right, you guys, this thing's zeroed out for this crate. Super excited. How much do you guys think it's gonna weigh? Oh, nowhere near as big as last year. 18. Not bad at all. So I'll have a nice 18-pound watermelon. I think last year it was like 28 pounds. Almost 10 pounds more, but you know, we didn't have ideal growing space this year for the watermelon, and that's gonna be fantastic for the party. So now it's gonna go in the fridge. Nothing better than ice cold watermelon on a hot day. All right, so let's check out 2 more watermelons. One of these is ready and one of them is not. Okay, so first thing we're gonna check is the tendril. It is dried out. It's the first time I've noticed that on this one. This one has an excellent creamy colored field spot. Means it's a mature fruit. The last thing is the sound. Yeah, it has a nice medium tone resonance. I feel pretty confident in pulling this. You could, if you wanted to try and make it a little sweeter, you could let it maybe go another day or two. You know, the way to get better at picking them is really to compare them. So let's compare this one that I believe is ready to this one. So you can see that's a little bit smaller. The tendril on this one, as you can see, is not dried out, still has some life left in it. And the sound, it's a little bit higher in frequency. And the field spot, it's developed, could go a little more though. And you'll see I need to put some more straw here to help prevent it from rotting. Because of this, it sounds pretty good, but it's still a little too high pitched and the tendril's not dried out. Okay, so listening to this one. So hopefully you can hear the difference there, that this one is higher in tone. Just more evidence that the lower in tone, the more ripe it's going to be. There's no thuddiness in here, which is nice. So this should be a perfect watermelon. Watermelon that's almost ready. And we go look at the tendril here. It is completely dried out, and it's been dried out for a few days. I've been watching this thing and checking on it and listening to the sound. Starting to get deeper. Sounds really good, really resonant. I could harvest this right now, I think, but I think I might let it go one more day to see if it'll go a little bit lower so that it'll be a little bit sweeter. So we'll check on it again tomorrow, and then we'll cut it open together so that we can see how it actually tastes, how good the prediction was. So it's 2 days later. Now let's listen to this thing. Sounds really nice. So we're gonna go ahead and just clip it off. All right, looks like this watermelon's at about 12 pounds. I have to add about 1.5 because I have it zeroed for a tote. Cool, another really great watermelon. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut the melon. Whenever they pop like that, it's a good sign. Oh yeah. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Yeah, let's just go ahead and chop this up. Kind of like to chop the rind. Let's just try a couple right now. And if you cut it more boxy when you eat it, it makes it a little bit easier. If I could have cut it even better. I could have cut more of the rind off. I just like to cut it like that sometimes. All right, so let's go ahead and try it. It looks like it's gonna be really firm. That's excellent. It's pretty sweet, and the texture is perfect, just like I like it. Not mushy at all. Super firm, kind of that crunchiness that some watermelons have. And yeah, this is an excellent watermelon. Love growing the Jubilee. It's nice and sweet. It's probably like a 7 or 8 out of 10 on the sweetness scale. The Jubilee isn't the sweetest of sweet watermelons, but it has like that perfect, crunchy, really nice flavor. I really enjoy growing this variety, and I'll probably try a new one next year and do the Jubilees again as well. Alright guys, thanks again for watching the video. Please drop a like for me, subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. Please share these videos with your friends. And I really hope that this video helped you learn how to pick a very nice watermelon. And just remember, it takes practice, and don't be too hard on yourself. You're gonna get it. And just follow my tips, and I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to pick a nice watermelon, even on your first try. So just do your best, look for that dried tendril, and then over time you'll get really good at picking out the sound that's correct. Alright guys, have a great day, happy gardening and farming, and I'll see you guys in the next Nature's Always Right video.